Hey guys, I shouldn't be talking about this, but let's talk about it. Candace Owens is on the menu. Um, a part of me feels like conversations like this, what Elizabeth Warren said about Bernie Sanders, Gun Girl, these are issues that in 2020 we shouldn't be debating. I think a lot of conservatives think that the liberal future is a bunch of trainees and men running around in dresses and broken homes and stuff. I don't see that. For me, as a socialist, I feel a more equitable world is possible. A world where everybody's got health insurance and free college and less war, less military intervention. I don't just mean where you move the troops from Afghanistan to Syria or move them from somewhere that ain't my definition. Maybe it's Trump's. That ain't mine. What I mean by it is just completely dismantling some military units because you have no more need of it. That's what I'm talking about. These military contracts, building all this new technology. You don't need it. Now, I guess that's how they see it, though. That's the liberal future is just, gay. I don't see that. I see a more equitable world as possible, a more interconnected world, a world where we work in solidarity with workers in other countries. I know why conservatives always go back to the gay and the trannies. I know why. That's all they've got. They don't want to talk to people who really are workers who have been screwed by Trump stuff. And not so much Trump, but just capitalism. Free market capitalism is screwing them. Trump represents the ugly form of it. That's what I'm talking about. So Candace Owens was speaking with Cornel West on Fox News, and she was talking about how they want to do to the whole country what was done to black people as far as socialism. She thinks that Democrats serve socialism. She thinks the big government is socialism, and she said that you want to do what was done to the black community to all of America and all this kind of crap. And she just sounds stupid. Say this first. I think Shijink said this, and I agree, that you can be a black conservative, we can have these discussions. Something I noticed about people like Candace Owens and Kanye West, and just your black conservatives at this point, if you're supporting Trump, you are usually allied with some of the most nasty, vicious elements of white supremacy. And that's just something that I've found to be true when it comes to Trump, when it comes to these black coons. They're usually, I watched one Candace Owens has a show. He's talking to this guy, it's the MAGA boxer. He got his ass whooped by an African immigrant, got his ass beat. I loved it. And he was like, he went to Brazil and called them dirty bastards or something. And so you can't call us racist because the Macaulay Culkin said it in Home Alone. A couple things. It's out of context. Because Macaulay Culkin was a little boy in that movie, fending off two grown men that were burglarizing his house. That was his house. He was home alone. Hence the name Home Alone. You are a grown man. No. You're not only a grown, you're a boxer. You're like he's a heavyweight boxer, competitive boxer in another man's country, calling him filthy and an animal. That's the mind of the oppressor. That's the mind of the colonizer. And the fact that Candace Owens was laughing at that, I'm just like, you don't realize you have more in common with those Brazilians than you do with this white man in front of you. Like, all of them have to wear the MAGA hat. To be a conservative or a Trump supporter, You gotta be nasty. Like I noticed that to be a black conservative at this point, you're either on one side or the other. There is no in between. I'd say with Bush and with other presidents, you've had blacks that may have supported certain conservative policies here and there, but not with Trump. Either, and with all the black people that Trump has around him, like this one guy that I guess supports some older guy, and he was talking about how we don't want strong women, we don't want professional women, we don't want women to go out here and succeed and all. We want someone to make me a sandwich. It's like, I see why you're close with Trump, because you think like, I bet you're homophobe too. Oh, I bet he's a homophobe. I bet he'll go off talking about Muslims. All of them are like that. Everybody that Trump, every black person that Trump has in his back seat, or more likely in his trunk, they're all nasty. They're all vicious, just like he is. That's their spirit. It's all nasty, and vicious, and hateful. That's the only reason why, that's something I find interesting. Nobody is around him. Like, example, I watch Sam Cedar Majority Report. And from that, I started watching the Michael Brooks show. He's an intellectual in his own right. They differ in some ways. They do. But I can watch both of them. Trump, I don't want to get into that. I just say, my grandma used to say, you judge can judge you by your friends, the company that you keep, in essence, what she said. And like I said, what Sink said, I don't have a problem with you being a black conservative. I really don't. When Candace Owens was talking about Hitler, though, and how, this idea that if he had stayed in Germany and making the trains run on time and everything would be okay, that mindset is what allowed him to go into Poland, what allowed him to go into Austria, what allowed him to go into Czechoslovakia. That mindset of nationalism and all this kind of stuff that they had, they could have stopped him. They could have stopped Hitler several times. And I understand Hitler said it, that when he sent troops into Poland, they didn't have artillery cover. They didn't have like heavy. It was just those were basically pawns. And if someone started shooting, they were to back off. They were to retreat. He said that. I can look it up for you. And so all it would have took was just a strong no, stop, halt. And we could have averted or slowed down the rise of one of the most despotic monsters in history. And we could have prevented, possibly, we could have possibly prevented one of the worst man-made disasters in human history. And Candace Owens wants to sit here and tell you that Hitler would have been okay if he had stayed in Germany. But we know now that doesn't make sense, because, see, like I told my friend Denzel, there are certain people say, I wish I had done this. When I was married, I wish I had done this to my wife. I wish I had done this to my last job. I wish I had done this when I had this house or whatever. And some things I wish I had changed. But as I get older, I realize that there's certain things about me that have not changed and probably won't change. I'm a different person than I was when I was 12 years old. I don't use a Lume Crystal deodorant anymore. I use a paste. Same idea. I knew back then that the chemicals in the deodorants were bad for you. I knew that then. I started taking stuff when I was like 25, 24 when I started really getting into it. But I still had a blender back when I was 16, 17, 18. I had a blender back then. Still kept two of them in there. And I think it was Oster. No, it was the little cups, whatever you call it, Magic Bullet. Yeah, getting off subject, my point just remains the same, that what she says is dangerous. Extremely dangerous. And when she talks about the Southern strategy never happened, that's a lie. But just like your girl said with Trump, alternate facts. This is alternate facts for you. Peace out.